All right then. Well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto, and really welcome back to Cary Imports, because those are the very nice people who have provided us with this $20,000 Rolls-Royce Ghost, basically. I'm sure anybody who's familiar with the BMW and Rolls-Royce, you know that BMW owns Rolls-Royce, and this 750, actually, this 2014 750, the 7 Series in general is actually the underpinnings of the Ghost of that generation. So that's something interesting, I guess, and kind of where the title stems from. So once again, huge thanks to Cary Imports for providing us with all these vehicles to review. Kind of gives us a chance to look at these vehicles from a different light, because I remember 2014, I was in high school, and I was just oogling and goggling at this vehicle. And now I'm in here driving it 100,000 miles later, of course. So that's good, though. It's a good test to see how these vehicles have been holding up, because I was always curious about, essentially. So let's just get started with this review. And right off the bat, obviously, I've done an extensive amount of videos on the Lexus LS series, and driven the S classes, and now we're taking a look at a 750 Li, actually. So this is actually the extended wheelbase version. So what does that mean? Obviously, it gets an extra 5.5 inches of space, primarily to the rear leg spaces. I mean, I'm assuming most of you are familiar with this, this formula by now. That comes out with the flagship vehicle. It's got all the gadgets, the toys, and it's the longest car. And the L series just adds like an extra 5 inches of leg space to the actual wheelbase. So it's the limousine version. But what's interesting about this vehicle is that it's still a BMW. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a big body executive vehicle, even though that's what this is. This is still a BMW at the end of the day, and it's still the ultimate driving machine. So driving is still needs to be a priority with this vehicle. I guess before we get into the driving, let's just get into the looks of it. Just a traditional BMW. That's kind of a good thing or a bad thing for some people. I mean, it looks like a 3 Series that's just been elongated. To me, honestly, I think this vehicle looks very baller. And another thing that I actually have always really praised BMW is actually just kind of how solid they are, at least when they're brand new. This is a 7 Series, and it's actually their flagship vehicle, so it better hold up really well, similar to how the Lexus vehicles have. And honestly, for the most part, it kind of has. This has been a really solid driving experience for the most part. There is just like this minor rattle coming from up here, but compared to like the S Class with similar miles in year, dude, this is far more solid. I don't think it's quite as solid as the LS, but like it is really good for what it is. I was really shocked. I mean, it is not a little rattle box in here. It does actually, feel pretty solid in here. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that this is a big body car, and the ride quality in this is not like what it is in like a 3 Series. You know what I'm saying? This rides so much better. Like, this is, I mean, easily by far the best riding BMW ever, and that's to be expected. This is obvious stuff that I'm saying here. But one thing is interesting. Got some railroad bumps here. Seamless, of course. But one thing to note actually is this vehicle actually got redesigned in 2013. So this is a 2014 model. So actually, what these vehicles got over this generation was air suspension is now standard across the board with all of these vehicles. It doesn't matter if you get a 740i or like a base model or whatever, you always get that. You always get this 8-speed ZF transmission, which I think these are phenomenal upgrades. And obviously the engine got upgraded as well to this 4.4 liter V8 that they're throwing in everything, basically. Kind of smart of them to do that. Essentially what you get out of an M5 and all that. Just check out this handling right here. This is a BMW after all. You know what this kind of reminds me of? It's similar to the Jaguar XJ. I actually have driven an extended wheelbase XJ Jaguar, and that was actually one of my most favorite big body cars I've actually driven driving-wise. It felt like half its size. This is kind of pulling off the same thing. This feels like half the size, and every BMW, even the 7 Series, even an X5, they all have 50-50 weight distribution, or pretty close to it. So that's why I was very curious to check this vehicle out. Like, this should be, and kind of is now, the best driving like big body vehicle, like if that matters to you. I like this way more than the S-Class, I think, driving wise anyway. It handles extremely well. No, it doesn't have the S-Class levels of swagger, but like this is still very good regardless. And this is actually the all-wheel drive model, so it's got plenty of grip. It'll never get sideways on you. It's got gobs of just power and torque, 445 horsepower and 480 pounds-feet of torque. So it is effortless power. And unlike the S-Class that I was in, that vehicle had an insane amount of just turbo lag. Well, this is just instantaneous every single time. And yeah, there's different like little modes and stuff that you can play with for sure. Sport Plus mode. I mean, granted, if you drive like this, you are not going to get very good fuel efficiency because it's a twin turbo and it's a V8 on top of that. So if you push this thing, fuel economy is not going to be its forte. But I guess that's not why you buy this vehicle. On Sport Plus mode, even with the all-wheel drive system, I'm sure it sends most of the power to the rear. Vehicle does weigh about 4,600 pounds. I'm assuming it's like around 4,800 with this all-wheel drive system. Yeah, it is just instantaneous. Wow, Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're gonna be flying in this joint. I mean, it's just, not only is it effortless, but it is like, yeah, no, this will just definitely eradicate some sports cars for sure, especially with this all-wheel drive system. It is just putting down the power effortlessly. So I am thoroughly impressed with this thing. This is I'm surprised that this is what the the Rolls-Royce Ghost is kind of based off of. It's kind of interesting. This like really like, you know, balanced, well-driving vehicle. It's definitely, you know, and this is, you know, another reason why I like this particular BMW is that it's still from that era where it wasn't a completely detached driving experience. They still have some levels of just feel to the drive. And I get it, you know, this is a big body car and maybe driving dynamics isn't its ideal maybe thing that it needs to accomplish. The thing is, this does ride extremely well. It is very just like relaxing and comfortable to pilot this vehicle. It's a real joy because the size of it is not intimidating despite it being over 200 inches long. The sight lines are all good, you know, visibility is excellent. It's just a non-intimidating vehicle. You got to keep in mind, man, this is like a deep six-figure vehicle. I mean, you're kind of sort of piloting, you know what I'm saying, like a house around, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just 20 grand now, but that used to not be the case, if you know what I'm saying. Still got that stupid turn signal, of course, that BMW is known for. But yeah, dude, this is, man, it's a smooth vehicle, man. This V8, you know, not a lot of sound protrudes through the cabin, but that's to be expected. This is actually the M Sport model, if I didn't mention that to you already, but not that it means much. I mean, yeah, it's probably lowered like a little bit. It's got like some better wheels on it. The body kitting has changed a little bit, and other than that, I mean, let's be honest, it's still a big body car. You still get a phenomenal ride quality and just surprisingly, you know, BMW solidity. You know, I am impressed with this. Even in Sport Plus, the steering does not feel ridiculous like it does in some M cars that I've driven in the past. Let's see how that turning circle is. Not too bad for a car of this size, but could be a little bit better. Yeah, I think what's really impressive about this vehicle is definitely that power. That's going to be intoxicating. But more importantly, you know, as I'm piloting this vehicle, there's no stupid noises. It just feels proper. Paddle response is absolutely excellent. Yeah, that's why I love the ZF, man. This going to an 8-speed from their old 6-speed transmissions, phenomenal choice. Yeah, loving that 8-speed. That's excellent. So I think you guys get the point as far as, you know, driving dynamics goes. Really nothing to complain about traditional BMW as far as this generation goes. Handles really well, rides good, goes really well. How about the interior? It is an executive sedan after all, so let's get into that. Interior is actually laid out very similar to how most of the other BMW products are laid out. It's very just simplistic in its layout. There's not a whole lot to talk about here other than, you know, you get all your, you know, typical creature comforts like heated and cooled seats. One interesting thing is that the doors, the way that they open out, like it kind of prevents you from just slamming the door into like the next, into the car next to you, which I find really interesting. That's a feature I've never seen on any other car before, so that's cool. And like the kind of like the door handle grabbing is up here, like integrated into the wood trimming. It's the first time I've seen that inside of a BMW. Actually, the leather quality in here is really superb. It's got like essentially no wrinkles, to be honest, on the seat. So this is really up there with Lexus quality. I'm surprised to say that most of these German cars, they don't really last that good, but this one has, so I'm really impressed. It's got your heads-up display, of course. Not too distracting. It's very good, similar to how most BMWs actually are. Plenty of space in here. You don't even have to worry about space. That's kind of why you get a car like this. You know, especially with this L series, dude, with that extra 5.5 inches of rear legroom, dude, I mean, you can just really stretch out back there. You can literally be like an avatar and really, you know, get your feet out there. You know, headroom is phenomenal. Even in the front, of course, headroom and legroom in the front seat of pretty much any car is really good. Steering wheel wrapped in leather, of course, and it's got a bit of wear on it, but overall, it's really nice smooth leather. Traditional kind of BMW paddles. It's got like every single safety feature ever imaginable, and it's not super intrusive. Like, it's got like the lane keep assist, and it just kind of gently kind of pushes you back, so that's good. It kind of just puts some resistance into the steering wheel. But I am just really enjoying my time just piloting this vehicle around. It is so damn comfortable. That's kind of why these vehicles are like my most favorite, you know what I'm saying? The extraordinary amount of space is excellent. Like, you know, that trunk is deep as hell. Everything's plush in here. Everything's like, you know, for those car reviewers that are like absolute freaks when it comes to that stuff, it's like all soft touch everything in here. Jesus Christ, this thing just gets up and goes. Yeah, anyway, like I was saying, gobs of space in here. Everything's plush. Literally just this one rattle coming from the mirror. Otherwise, man, this whole thing is solid. It's got the Harman Kardon sound system. It sounds bumping in here. Not gonna lie, it's very legit. I'm sure it's over a 1,000 watt sound system. It does sound absolutely clear. Bass is great. So that's pretty much it, man. There you go. That's the BMW 750i. Kind of my thoughts on it. How does it rank against the Lexus cars? Obviously, this kills it in terms of driving dynamics. Just, you know, how do I feel compared to the Genesis G80? This is way faster than a G80. I mean, it's just, you know, it is what it is. You know, it's a German car. You know, this is that generation of BMW I really liked, you know, where they still kind of cared about driving. The G80 does actually have like a BMW kind of vibe to it when you drive it, actually, but even as a 5-liter V8, it's definitely not as fast as this, and the transmission is nowhere near as good. But other than that, though, the G80 is like really the only car I probably even compare to this. Even in terms of just the silence of this vehicle, even at speeds, you know, the wind noise, the tire noise, it's all very minimal in here, but kind of similar to the G80 again. So it's kind of like the closest comparison that I can make. This, I really like this over the S-Class, at least that 2013 one that I drove. I need to try out the 2014, like the revised one, but this is definitely a vehicle that I really like. But like with most BMWs and most German cars, make sure you grab that warranty from Cary Imports if you are interested in grabbing this vehicle. This is a solid one, man. This is no issues with this vehicle, no stupid check engine lights. This has turned out to be a nice, solid vehicle. So, you know, it's got air suspension in it. It's got that V8, so twin turbocharged. So definitely take advantage of their warranty, their 3-year unlimited mileage warranty. So if you want this vehicle, check them out. I'm going to leave all their information down in the description box below. I come here often, so definitely check out their website at the bare minimum. So thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye.